This is the quadratic formula. Target C. Notice I'm using my Batman voice, because my title's very dark and brooding, like the rest of my color scheme, except for the yellow. Alright, that hurts my throat. I'm not going to continue to do that. I just felt like changing things up a bit and trying to get you excited about something like the quadratic formula, which is really, really hard to do. So I'm not going to do it. Anyway, learning goals. I can identify the parts of a quadratic equation and apply the quadratic formula correctly. I can simplify an equation into standard form. I can solve quadratics by using the quadratic formula. And that's it. So anyway, no, seriously though. Make sure that you're not going to have to memorize the quadratic formula, but I do expect you to know how to use it. It is easy to memorize if you can find the things like the version of it where they sing the formula to Pop Goes the Weasel. You'll never forget it once you hear it. So if you really want to learn it and know it, and so you don't have to worry about looking it up or making a mistake, go look it up. But I take no responsibility if it gets stuck in your head. So, quadratic formula. When you have a quadratic equation written in standard form, which is this right here, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, you can take the terms of that equation, the a, b, and c, plug them into the quadratic formula in order to arrive at a solution. So here's the quadratic formula. X equals the opposite of b plus or minus the quantity square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. Yes, lovely. Looks like a lot. But the nice thing is it literally is plug and play. You get your a, your b, and your c, and you just plug them in and solve. So we're going to do a little practice. First example, you're given what a is. A is 2. B is 7. C is 19. Substitute the values into the quadratic formula. Do not solve. Do no math operations. Okay, there's the quadratic formula. We're told what A is, what B is, and what C is. Just plug them in. Okay? So B, these are your yellows. A, C, good. Okay? No problems. We're going to go ahead and we're going to replace that with those. Okay, there's my B. Notice it said opposite of B. B is 7. See how I even matched up the colors? Let me go back and show you that. So see, B is 7, nice and yellow, so we know where that goes. A is 2, we know where that goes. C is 19, so we know where that's going to go. The numbers that are already in blue are always going to be there, so we're always going to multiply this by 4 and subtract it. We're always going to multiply that by 2. So it's negative 7 plus or minus, so here's where those two possible solutions come in. The square root of the difference of 7 squared minus 4 times 2 times 19 all over 2 times 2. That's your answer. You don't have to do anything, just plug them in the correct spot, which is a lot easier said than done. Not that it's super hard, but you'd be surprised. Second example, now we're given an equation. We need to identify what A, B, and C is. First things first, look at that equation. Remember, standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. Does my x squared come first? Does my x come second? Does my constant come third? No to all of the above. The only thing that's correct is that it is equal to 0. So we need to fix that. So we're going to rearrange everything. And I put a 1 in front of there because we can't say that a is x squared. We have to give it a numerical value. A, B, and C are always going to be numbers, no variables. So we put 1x squared plus 4x plus 1. Okay, remember, this is standard form. So there are my actual match. Now they're in order. We're all good. So A is 1, B is 4, C is 1. Simple. Okay? We're going to do it again. Identify A, B, and C. And again, remember, standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. We don't have that right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to move everything on the right over to the left. So I'm going to go ahead and I did that backwards. Sorry. So forget this for a second. So it's 11x squared. I subtracted that from both sides, so that canceled out. I had a negative 1, so I added to do the opposite to both sides. Notice how I kind of kept these separate. Okay, because you can't do x squared and x together. So negative 11x squared, that went right there. I only had a negative 4x, so that went there. A plus 1 is 9, so that went there. Now that I had everything, and it was all equal to 0 now. So now that I had everything in order, my x squared, my x, my constant,
I knew that my A was -11, my B was -4, and my C was 9. All right, now on to the performance test. So now we are actually going to use the quadratic formula. So like the last problem, we are going to get this in standard form. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I am going to add 12 in this case. Notice there's no constant, so I'm just going to put a +0 if that makes me feel any better. All right, so we got everything in columns. XX, constant, 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 XX. Good. These cancel out like they should. This cancels out like it should. There's nothing to go with the x squared, so that's just going to come down, which is going to give us 4x squared, which I got from this. 17x minus 12x is 5x. 0 plus 12 is 12. So now that I've got everything, I know what my A, my B, and my C are. My A is 4, my B is 5, my C is 12. Okay, and remember my, if you remember the quadratic formula, x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So I took my b, which is 5, and I put it in. So notice even though my b here is a positive 5 out here, because it's the opposite of b, it becomes -5. Plus or minus 5 squared minus 4 times 4 times 12, because a is 4, c is 12, all over 2 times 4. Now we're actually going to work it out. So remember order of operations. Okay, don't exponents first. Okay, next comes multiplication. So 4 times 4 is 16 times 12. So 16 times 12 is, let's see, 16 times 12 is 192. Okay, and it's 25 minus 192, which gives us the -167. 2 times 4 is 8. So what we're going to do next is the only thing that we have left that we can do is take this negative sign out and bring it out and put an I there to account for that. Nothing else can be reduced. You can't find the square root of 167. You can't simplify it. So that's all we can really do with it. Okay? All right, moving right along to the last problem for this. So solve for x using the quadratic formula. Now it's straightforward. We have it in order, in standard form. Okay, we know that 9 is a, b is -5, c is 4. All we need to do is plug that into our quadratic formula. Okay, again, remember this is the opposite of b. So just because b is a -5 doesn't mean we're going to leave it as a -5. Now it's going to change to a +5. -5 squared is 25. Okay, minus 4 times 9 times 4, all over 2 times 9. Okay, so this 4 times 9 times 4, so that's 36 times 4, which gives you 144. 25 minus 144 is -119. Okay, again, can't have that negative sign, can't do anything with these. So the answer is x equals 5 plus or minus I times the square root of 119 over 18. So again, a little bit more substance to this unit, probably a little bit harder to understand. But if you have any questions whatsoever, again, one, practice is going to make perfect. So check online at the answers for the homework and the practice. And 2, just do as many of these problems and get some feedback to make sure you're doing it right as often as you can. That's all I got. You guys have a lovely day.